Welcome to a Hero's Welcome podcast, where stories, healing, and culture meet. Every episode, we invite you to listen, reflect, and be curious.
This podcast is a space for mental health therapists where we talk about the real work of healing.
Whether you're a mental health professional, a proud geek, or somewhere in between, you're in the right place.
So let's jump in.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of a Hero's Welcome podcast. I'm your co-host, Maria, and I'm joined by my silly dancing co-host this morning.
Excuse me. Let's start with fun. I'm Liliana Baylon, and we are here with returning guests. We're so excited that you're back. Rachel, how do you want to introduce yourself again to our audience?
I'm stoked to be here. I love our time and our connection. I'm so excited for everyone that's tuning in. Grab your sparkly beverages and let's get cozy. But yeah, I'm Rachel. That's how I like to introduce myself. I guess we can give a little bit about who I am, so you know who listens.
Now you're a single name, like
Rachel. Yeah, hey,
Rachel.
This is how important she is. We don't need a last name or credentials. It's just her name. That's right.
It's the human part.
That's right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's the human part, even though we're gonna be talking about digitals.
I know.
Yeah, the digital landscape.
I'm telling you though, I very much do view, and I'll come back to introducing me in a second, but I can't help myself because we're about to go down this little sidestep.
Yes.
Because that's how we started with some side steps. You know what I mean? That's how we roll in here. But yeah, it's so interesting. I actually very much view digital as an extension of the human brain. Mm-hmm. It truly is. Yeah. So yes, it is digital and it is separate and it is an extension of us, which I will also say I'm realizing even more, like even with AI really is an extension of us.
Yeah.
I asked my AI to name itself, so I already introduced myself. My AI's name is Arlo.
Oh, nice. Mine's Orion.
Mm-hmm. Mine is Echo.
Oh, I love this. And I found out just through the explanation that Arlo gave that it really is how we interact, which is so interesting. So anyways, I digress because I could go down a whole discussion with that. So if it comes up, it comes up. Otherwise, maybe we'll have another discussion another time. But yes, I'm Rachel. I am a licensed psychologist, a registered play therapist supervisor. I own a group practice called Creative Psychological Health Services. We have 3 physical locations and it's a hybrid practice. So we also provide virtual services. I love to train. I am in all kinds of different leadership positions, state, national. I train primarily on incorporating digital technologies in play therapy, but I also train on self-care, supervision, anything that is needed, trauma, anything that's needed that aligns with my specialties. So that's a little bit about me. I always say I like to sprinkle myself everywhere. It's little polka dots behind me. And yeah, I'm passionate about connecting with others and sharing knowledge and just growing together collaboratively.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we were just talking before that you were one of our first guests on our first season.
So
and
excited.
Here we are, season 3, getting to welcome you back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we love our time with you. So even if we don't get all the way down to AI, I think that is a conversation that needs to be had for sure. And I haven't had a chance to share with you, but I think this will kind of open where we're headed for a conversation today. I recently introduced my family to Attack of the Squirrels using a VR set and may have convinced other people present to obtain a VR set.
Oh, it's so fun. I think it's called Acron.
Acron, yeah.
It's like acorn, and I always thought it was acorn, but it actually is Acron.
Acron. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been delightful. So my kids are 8 and 10 right now, going on like 16 and 23. And they very much are digital kids. I'm a gamer. I love my digital realms. And I think we were stuck home over the winter break recently. And I was like, we need to do something different because we're a gaming family, but we were also like on our own devices. And I was like, oh, I remember this from the training with Rachel and Jessica. And now it has become like at least 3 times a week we are playing. And my daughter has discovered that as the tree, you can actually pick up the squirrels.
Oh, yeah.
And chuck
yeet them.
Yes, right off
you
the
yeet
island.
them across the map.
So that is her favorite defense mechanism.
Oh, yeah. I guess for those listening, I'll take a step back for a second and just explain. So Acron is a cross-platform game. One player is in the VR headset and everybody else is on a smart device. So everyone downloads the Acron app, except for the one who is using well, I guess technically the one who's using the VR headset, you have to download the app in the VR headset too, but it's different. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so the person who's wearing the headset is the tree in the game. And then everybody else who's playing are different squirrels or like little creatures, little bitty creatures. And they ultimately are running to collect acorns, and all of the squirrels work together. They want to collect the acorns and then within a certain time frame get a certain amount, or all of them. I forget the exact specifics, but meanwhile, the tree who's in a VR headset, which is super cool because the tree sees the little squirrels coming in like 3D. Yeah. Everyone else playing, just sees it on 2D on their screens. But the squirrels like sneak around and they try to grab the little acorns, and the tree is able to throw out different things like sticky goo that like has the little creatures slow down. And yeah, anyway, but they can pick them up and they can throw them off the map and all kinds of things. So it's super duper duper fun. I've played in sessions. It's great to play with families.
Yeah, because it's one of the few ones that we have found that's cooperative and competitive, kind of all in one. Yeah. And it really does lend itself well to like multiplayer. So like, we were talking about it of like, this could be really fun for family sessions too, in terms of like who works together, how do they communicate,
frustration tolerance, because people can get real upset. Understand so.
Someone self-identifying.
All your feels are welcome here.
Yeah, right. This feels really actually a great conversation of how do we help therapists who are afraid of family sessions utilize a game like this. So how do we help therapists work with digital parenting, like teaching about digital like game consoles, what games to play, how they function, so the parents become aware, because parents are busy. Too many stressors, too many things. And therapists are actually missing out on not only helping families come together and play in a different way, coming into the kids' world, but also understand that world, because I feel like a lot of the parents reject it because they don't understand it.
Yes, all the thoughts. And I love that last point that you made, because I think that really is the root. Yeah. There's uncertainty. Uncertainty ultimately results in heightened anxiety, and our nervous system is programmed in a way to keep us safe, self-preservation. So it doesn't differentiate between a tiger in the woods and, just an unknown digital realm. Yeah. Anxiety is anxiety. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is the response to keep us safe. Now, of course, the reactions might be a little different. I'm not saying that not knowing how to play Acron is the same as facing a bear in the woods. No. And our nervous system does respond before our brain is able to kick in and inform it, we're actually okay here. There's something called moral panic, or ultimately when something new is introduced, there is panic, like there is because of the uncertainty. And again, it's a normal human response. And I'm noticing this a lot across the board, parents, but also therapists, professionals, because we have learned that we need to operate competently.
Yeah.
And if we are venturing into these spaces where we don't know things, we're not practicing competently. So we're not going to incorporate it, which makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
Competence does look a little different, though, than I think we sometimes realize. We don't have to know everything there is to know about a game or a space or a play method, digital or otherwise, to be competent in what we're doing. It's feeling comfortable enough within potential discomfort to be able to help a client navigate the space or child, depending if we're talking about parent or clinician, to be able to, so to guide in a healthy direction, right? Healthy digital citizenship, to be able to figure out the unknown and be open to continuing to steer in healthy directions. If we continue to approach things by saying, nope, danger, I don't know this, I'm shutting it off because the nervous system is shutting it off. I get it. And the digital realm is here to stay. So I really genuinely believe that us as clinicians and parents really need to lean in whatever way aligns with us to enhance our comfort and ultimately steer use in a healthy direction. So that's kind of my little nugget initially to start off with. But ultimately, with parents, I think it's just helping them lean in to their kids' worlds and clinicians.
Yeah. I think it's about connection.
Yes.
My little one started during the pandemic. She started school pre-K during the pandemic, but even, excuse me, not in the pandemic, like kids are learning on tablets. They have their own laptops at school. They have smart boards instead of whiteboards in the classrooms. If we aren't willing to be vulnerable and learn ourselves as parents and clinicians, we are missing out in their communication, like majorly.
Yes. Technology is the modern facilitator of communication. And if we're looking at play and play therapy, play is a child's natural mode of communication. So if technology is the modern facilitator of that, we are missing a huge piece of the way that they're communicating. I have a toddler, 2.5. He loves the screen, but we are super balanced and I'm very present and I'm aware. I know what he's watching. We watch it together. Sure, sometimes like he's watching stuff and I'm around and I run up and run down. Like, yes, but I don't make it a babysitter. Ultimately, right now, he is in his dino era, has transitioned from his car era. But anyway, that's for a different discussion, another place and time. But anyways, he loves dinosaurs. And there is a certain family that we discovered, and they have dinosaur toys where they have a magic wand and the dinosaur toys become these big dinosaurs. I think they probably use AI. And my son, Lennox, I'll just say Lennox plays the role of the dinosaur. So he wakes up in the morning, not every time, but he'll say, watch dinosaur. To an outside perspective, I could see someone saying, oh my gosh, your child is addicted to the screen. They wake up in the morning and or he wakes up in the morning. The first thing that he says is that he wants to go on YouTube. I mean, he doesn't say it that way, right? But he says, watch dinosaur. Yeah. Me knowing him and being present and engaging in co-play with him. And by the way, watching YouTube together is engaging in co-play. It is a modern method of play, which is hard for a lot of us older individuals to feel, but it's true. It is a modern method of play. And I'll come back to another point with that in a moment. But he says, watch dinosaurs. What I hear him say is, Mom, I want to play dinosaur right now. And what he does, we go downstairs, we do our morning routine. We go downstairs, not every day, but most times I'll turn on dinosaurs. He goes, he gets his feet ready. It's so cute. And he starts to stomp. He goes, roar. And he like opens his mouth. I mean, I'm telling you, he embodies the dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then we have all of our dinosaurs set up and then he plays with them alongside. So it's balance, right? And it's leaning in and it's finding his interests. We started watching a couple videos just to learn about dinosaurs, learn names, learn facts. He like learned how to count. And again, it's not that it's replacing me. It's just he's learning quicker because he's digesting information. I do want to say, I know that the American Academy of Pediatrics does have recommendations of, how much screen time and what ages it starts. And so, ultimately proceed intentionally. Make sure that you're doing your research. Just because someone is doing something a certain way or I'm expressing what I do with my family does not mean that aligns with you. And that's something else that's super important here. Not only leaning in with what your child loves or is interested in, but also what aligns best with your family, your values, all the things. So I just want to name that one quick sidestep and then I'll stop talking. But what I was mentioning, I was just going to come back to this. in around the pandemic, I think a couple years leading up to it, maybe even like at the very start of it, the one of the highest paid or the highest paid and most popular YouTuber was Ryan from Ryan's World. And for those who don't know, he's I think probably now a teenager, but a child whose channel was fully about unboxing and playing with toys. So like sit with that for a second. One of the highest paid, most popular YouTubers, and there are, I don't know the actual stats, but millions, millions of video, billions of videos, millions, billions of profiles, and a child who's playing with toys is tippy top. What does that say about digital native children? So
Right.
I'll let that simmer. We'll just let it simmer.
No, I love, right, because I always talk to supervisees in regards to, let's try not to be judgmental, even though we are, about parents not being able to co-play because of all the stressors, especially in the current environment that we're living.
Yeah.
However, I love that you mentioned, like, you don't let digital be the babysitter. And there's a great book, I'm trying to remember the author, that he wrote years ago called The Other Parent. And he was talking about how we were using technology as a babysitter in order for us to function and do what we needed to do because we were overwhelmed as parents.
Yeah.
It's called The Other Parent. And literally the cover is like a TV screen. But he was talking about years ago about how we were moving to using technology in ways that we never dream about because of how we were becoming a global entity, even though we still refuse to see it that way.
Yeah.
But there were like so many things, such as when you say, like, yes, even when I'm watching YouTube with my child, that's co-play. And the digital world is the facilitators of us doing co-play. And I think this is how, for all of you who are my age or even older, we grew up playing board games. We grew up having only maybe like 3, 5 channels, depending on where we were. So even though we were not consuming as much, that's because it was limited for us. But do you guys remember when we got introduced to AOL and how we were the generation that had to figure that shit out?
Oh, dial-up.
And explain it to our parents who were not in that world. And then inviting, and there was other issues, but let's just focus here with the digital.
There will be, but that's human nature too. Digital, on screen, off screen, there's going to be issues, right? Because if it's an extension of the human brain and experience, there's going to be perilous aspects. But anyway, I digress.
No, but I think this is important because we have always been uncomfortable. Every generation has endured something when we're uncomfortable. And it's usually the caretakers who have a hard time joining in.
Yeah.
So that means, from the idea that you talk about competence, the idea of I have to know it all. I have to have the answer. I have to have the time. It's all the shoots the parents are dealing with. And I love the invitation is, how do we utilize the digital world, either through games or through videos or through, and pay attention to that. My kids are young adults. I still call them my kids, and that may be confusing, but my children.
Babies. They're babies forever.
Always.
Who are 27 and 22.
I'm sure they would love that if they hear us talking right now.
We now play Monopoly. We play Mario Bros. Like, we play everything through their game console because that's where they exist.
Yeah.
The original games, by the way, they're collecting dust because we go and play everything on the big screen, or we share controllers. We do all these things. And it's always we having to join them to find out how they play, who they play with, how do they communicate, like where is the chat rooms? Like, it's all these things now that we're learning. But that took quite a bit of me even reaching out sometimes and asking Maria, what the hell is it? Tell me more. Let me go and Google this. And now, like, Echo, explain this step by step.
Yeah.
Kids love that, by the way. They love, I mean, genuinely, they want you to enter into their world. I remember like years ago seeing a meme about like Minecraft or Roblox or something. Like, if my child says what, or Fortnite, like my child says one more thing about insert whatever platform it is, my head's gonna pop off or whatever, and it's it's meant to be humorous, but ultimately, like, kids really do want to explain all the things about what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And when we lean in and show interest, it really does enhance the relationship across the board, parent child, therapist child, peer to peer. And yeah, exactly. They exist here. I love that you say that way because it's so true. They do exist here. So to say, yeah, we need to take you out of this space because it's unhealthy. Sure, we can discuss like what is healthy, what is unhealthy, how can we navigate that? And to just make that blanket statement, you are completely removing such an essential aspect of the child's culture.
Yeah.
And their social connections. Yeah. And I think about that too, that, I recognize that some parents say, you're not going to access, digital technologies until whatever age, and absolutely like balance and limits and rules and all the things. Yes. Like, again, be intentional with your choices. And it doesn't matter if another person is doing something different. Simultaneously, if we operate from a space of fear and then we inhibit use as a result of the fear, then we're also inadvertently impacting social connectedness and the norms within the present culture for our children.
Yeah, I love that, right? And I don't know what you think about this, Maria, but I was thinking my son, when he went to the first university, it was a international university. So every language spoke, every country was there. So the way that they started communicating was through game consoles. They couldn't understand. They had to use Google Translate, but they were playing soccer. And I thought, well, this is genius. But all that to say, how do we help therapists utilize this? Because I'm thinking, I was listening yesterday to an article. Yes, because so they can tell me. I don't have time to read anymore.
Yeah, multitasking.
That's another conversation. But they were talking about when people go to look for jobs, one of the questions in the interview is, what AI tools are you using? So if you say just ChatGPT, that's not going to cut it anymore. So they want to know how comfortable you are. Let me translate that to all folks here. When we were growing up, they were asking us if we were comfortable with Photoshop, Illustrator, when we were like, do you guys remember all that crap? Yeah. Oh, it was just me. Okay, cool. Excel. It was all those applications, that software that we were growing up with. And now they're asking them something completely different. So then let's bring it back to our field. How do we help our therapists, our colleagues be comfortable with this technology and these applications when there's not a lot of trainings on it? When our associations, plural, all of them, because most of us have multiple credentials, they're not also seeking for who is the speaker on this topic and how do we link it to the model so that therapists feel comfortable with it.
Yeah. I love that. What's coming to mind for me is the Ted Lasso quote of be curious, not judgmental. If you're unfamiliar with this, like, become curious about it. I also often remind both clinicians and parents, they use technology. They play with their technology. It may look different, but I have a hard time finding an adult that doesn't have some sort of game app on their phone for when they're waiting in the pickup line or whatever. And it reminds me back, like, even before we have what we now call digital technology, like, I know growing up, our family time was around certain TV shows that we all watched together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I am from the era of dial-up. I did have to teach my parents how to use the internet, and we still, we're in that sandwich generation because we're still like, we grew up with our parents telling us like our online relationships weren't real and be careful. And now I find myself telling my parents the same conversations, like everything that you see online is real. Like, some things don't change.
Side note, because when you were saying that, do you guys remember when our parents used to tell us, do not get in strangers' cars, and now we use Uber?
But now we use Uber.
Or now just, a car drives you around, like now just technology is like, cool, let's just, go for a ride together.
I love we had that because it freaked me out the first time that I got into one of those cars.
We had that terrifying experience together. Liliana and I got in a car with no driver, and it was like, what are we doing with our lives? She Share location, share location.
I've not had that experience, but yes, I literally was thinking of the same exact thing as you.
I love, so I started naming ChatGPT because my dad was like, you have to be nice, name them. They will remember. And I'm in the
Thank you. Say
I'm a nice
please.
person.
We use our manners.
We're buddies. So if anything happens, we're cool. Okay. I said thank you to you. I said please to you. We're cool.
But I think it goes back to that, Rachel, of like, our AI is built based on relationships, right? With the technology.
And ourselves.
And ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think being able to share that with parents and clinicians of like, because they don't want to hear that this is inevitable. If they are scared of this, if this is not their landscape, if they are not gamers, if they don't feel like they're tech savvy, like, right, they don't want to maybe face the truth of like, your kid goes to pre-K, they are on a screen.
Yeah.
My son, I think, was like 18 months when he transformed my mom's Kindle to speak only Spanish. Like it was all in Spanish. And like my husband had to go and undo it. Like they are super savvy. And if you don't even just be curious to stay connected with that, you're going to get left behind. And that is a relationship rupture in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Lennox watched videos on YouTube since he was an infant. And I can imagine some people are like, no, perhaps listening, but ultimately his first videos were black, white, and red sensory videos. And he listened to classical music, and it was the cutest thing because it would go, it would do da, 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 and then, he would go, ah, like he would make a noise with it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my sweet babe. It was so sweet. And then as his development shifted, then we did different sensory videos, but basically it was just these cute little things bouncing on the screen, and he would track with his eyes. And I actually even had signed him up to do some research through Yale's Infant and Child Development Lab. It's not the actual name. Apologies. I don't remember the exact name, but it's through Yale University, and they have kids, they have different studies at different times, but several of them were watching his eye tracking movements, and I don't know exactly all that they were looking for, but because we're a participant, we haven't received the results yet, but ultimately they were seeing, if there was an unfamiliar, strange type of situation, how did he respond, and like how was he tracking? So, I mean, the good thing is they're doing research and more information is going to come out. And I think there's a lot that's going on that is beneficial. There's a lot that's going on that can be scary, but I think, we do need to at some point lean in. And I have just added my phone around as like an extra thing that's there. And so it's kind of like synonymous to the concept of like the red button. If you're like, the red button is there, don't press it, then they're going to want to press the red button, right? If I'm on my phone, but I'm like, oh, you can't look at this or whatever, then okay, what is that thing I want?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's here. You can click around, press around. I mean, it's like locked, but he'll click on it, and he learned how to like turn the camera on, and he'll say picture, which is so cute. And so, so just learning. I wanted to piggyback on some of what you were originally asking, Liliana, that with like how to incorporate technologies, or like feel, I guess, kind of like lean in a little bit more when we don't have the training and there is the discomfort. It's just another tool.
Yeah.
I think it's a perspective shift because there's so much unfamiliarity. There oftentimes seems to be a default to, oh, this is different and I don't know how to do this. I can't do this because I don't know this, versus from a play therapy perspective, for example, this is just another type of toy. The basic play therapy principles are the same. We're not actually doing different therapy. It's through a different medium, right? So if someone paints versus them using markers versus them using crayons versus using a whiteboard, it's all just different mediums in which we are expressing ourselves. So yes, I understand that this particular medium is unfamiliar and that's scary. And sure, absolutely. There are caveats. At the core, though, in terms of competence and comfort, recognizing we're doing the work in the way that aligns with our frameworks, with the way that we are operating typically. in terms of our holding space or delivery of services or conceptualization of services. It's a little harder to conceptualize digital play when you don't know the platform. So I like to explain, I'm a humanistic psychologist. I incorporate non-directive techniques, but I'm not a purist non-directive because I don't follow, the purist non-directive thoughts, but I'm humanistic. So I very much follow the child's lead, period. But I will ask more questions pertaining to the game, though. I think that's the difference. Oftentimes there's this pressure of I need to ask questions about, school or home
Whatever
life.
brought them in.
Exactly. Yes. Like, let's process, we need to talk. And there's a lot of times that parents are like, my child is struggling with X, Y, and Z, talk to them about it. I'm like, as I explained, I say it in a very compassionate way, but like, let's talk a little bit more about play therapy and help you, recognize a little bit more about the core components of play therapy, what we're really doing here, what it looks like from an outside perspective, what's really happening for the child through their perspective. And it helps. But when we're in these unfamiliar spaces, I think that I think is the part that's the most concerning is, okay, well, I don't know where to go, but I also don't know how to conceptualize the play. I don't know how to make sense of this.
Yeah.
So being able to understand the setting, the characters or avatars, what are certain characteristics that this particular, character has, or like, what's the purpose of the game? How is this client or child playing in this space? It's going to vary. That then becomes clearer when we have enhanced insight and awareness. And so either if you engage in verbal dialogue with your clients in sessions, then you can ask them about it. Otherwise, you can always go on YouTube University, as I always say, and check out a video of a gamer playing that game or someone explaining the game or whatever it may be. And then that can enhance your understanding about the space and then ultimately how they're navigating that space and then how to proceed. One additional thing I want to say about that is every child's going to play a game differently.
Yes.
You do not need to know all there is to know about all the things you aren't going to. You just aren't. I think we just need to accept that now. I don't like to say that things are impossible. It is impossible for you to know all the things about all the things. Yeah. Because even if you do know the inner workings of a particular space, again, everyone's going to play differently. I had a client once that wanted to play Minecraft in session. And I don't know if I shared this last time. If so, I'll still share because if someone's listening now and didn't before, if I had shared it, you'll get it now. But because I share this example a lot. But ultimately, a child was playing Minecraft, wanted to look for diamonds. And so I was like, cool, let's look for diamonds. I'm terrible at Minecraft. Let's just establish this. Okay. Like, I don't really know how to move well. You think it would be simple. I don't know how to move well. I get stuck. It's tough. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand it. But I feel comfortable enough to go into an unfamiliar situation and to stumble through. And it's not about me. It's not about the way I play. It's not about that at all. It's about the process. It's about the client's experience. So I'm entering the space, don't know what I'm doing. They want to look for diamonds. They tell me, okay, you dig down, you dig down, you dig down. You just keep digging down. So for the whole session, we literally just dug down. Because I guess with Minecraft, there's like layers, like any world, right? Like there's different layers. So in multiple ways, actually, literally and figuratively. Anyway, so that was that. And that was the session. And we didn't come back to it, but there's a lot of themes that we could talk about there.
Thank you.
Another client around the same time also wanted to look for diamonds. And I was like, oh, I'm an expert diamond finder. I was like so excited. I'm like, finally, I know something in Minecraft. I'm like, yes. So they wanted to find diamonds. I'm like, oh, I know how to find diamonds because my clients know that I'm not good at a lot of these spaces, but they appreciate that I'm joining in and they love to teach me. They want to show me all the things. Oh my gosh, they love it. They love being the expert. That is the core of play therapy.
Such a gift.
Or just play in general for kids. Yeah. They want to be the experts. How many times are they in a space where they lack power and control and a sense of permissiveness to be who they are? Like how beautiful to have that. So I'm like, yes, I know how to find diamonds. Let's do this. And so I told that they was like, oh, well, how do you find diamonds? I'm like, you dig down, you dig down. You never do that. And I thought, oh, silly me. I clearly don't know how to play Minecraft still. Like, how do you find diamonds? They say you walk around, you have to find a cave, and then you go in through the cave. It hit me in that moment. It does not matter what we know. No. Because everyone's going to do things differently. This is life. This is human.
Yes.
We all navigate spaces in different ways. What is the client experiencing? How are they perceiving self, others in the world? Yeah. And how are they projecting that out through their play? It's going to be different. Yeah. So we don't need to know the things. Yeah. What we need to know is what's relevant for that client or that child and meet them there. So I love 100%. That example to really solidify that point.
Well, it's no different than the multiple use of a dollhouse.
Yeah.
right? Your dollhouse is going to be used in many different ways.
It's an open world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for all of you listening, that is a perfect example of cultural humility.
Yes.
We just don't know. So instead of focusing on what you know, can you be curious and then just go with it? Just go with it.
It's not about us. We can use our internal gauge as data, right? In part, it's our own stuff. Name your stuff. Okay. Your ish, name it. But if it is the client stuff, we might be absorbing some of the client stuff. So I really try to differentiate. The more I recognize, okay, I am uncomfortable here because I'm not good at this game. This is my own stuff. I'm not good at this game. And I feel like I'm letting the team down. And I never want to let my team down ever. That's my own stuff. So when I'm struggling through like a first-person shooter game, because I also suck at those terribly, my aim is awful. I like the cozy games. I like the puzzle games. I like the math. Like I prefer to be the resource, like the hunter and gatherer. Like I love to gather the resources. That's aligned with me as a person. I love to give resources. That's why we're here, right? But yeah, I can go on. I digress. But
I love this because in games, I love patterns. I'm your girl to solve shit because I love patterns. I can tell you the things that you do not pay attention because that's what I'm paying attention to. And I think we all have different gifts. This is lovely. We can keep going on forever. But what will be the last thing that you want to share to therapists out there when it comes to digital world and digital parenting?
The first thing I thought when you said that was experiential learning, because that really is the focus for anything that we're learning within the expressive therapies is to actually like literally or figuratively get your hands in it and to experience it yourself because there's power in that experience. And like I just mentioned the example, like it wasn't until I had that experience where I was like, oh my gosh, I now have this insight and it enhanced the way I navigate these spaces with my clients, I guess is the best way to say that. So I think just experiencing and having a game on your phone, like you were just talking about, Maria, like have a game on your phone and engage in some play and enjoy, lean in, play with your children. Or if for clinicians, if you don't have children, like just play with your inner child, like, or your partner or your friends or family or, or even entering into a live gaming space and you don't have to know anybody and you can just play. There's a lot of spaces now that have transitioned to live spaces. So you don't even have to have, somebody close to you to play with, but try it out, feel it, experience it. I think that's going to shift the way that you view things, at least ever so slightly, if not drastically.
Yeah. We're so lucky to have you in our field. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
The same about both of you, truly. Thank you.
You're such a good, and we always just have such a blast. Yeah, I can't wait till we're all kind of in the same space, even if it's a virtual space. We need to set up a virtual play date soon.
Yes.
But Rachel, thank you so much for being such a leading voice when this is not always easy to comprehend or accepted because our field is older and they're not always led by, we're not always led by people who are comfortable about this. So thank you for being a resource and a voice and just so much fun.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I love our time here. And again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Be kind to yourselves. Make time for play in your day.
Yes.
And you're doing better than you probably are giving yourself credit for. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
In life,
100%.
I just mean just blanket statement, just hanging on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Until next time.
So much. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Heroes Welcome podcast. We hope you found inspiration, insight, and maybe, just maybe, a little fun along the way. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your fellow healers. Until next time, stay curious, stay playful,